You want to stop spinning and start choosing with ease, speed, and confidence, right? But if even the smallest choice feels heavy and you find yourself stuck in, I don't know, longer than you want to admit, not because you're confused, but because you're afraid of what might come after the choice, then it's not that you need more clarity. It's that you've been carrying the emotional cost of every decision before you've even made it. Now, most people won't see it because on the outside, you're composed, you're capable, and you're in control. But inside, the weight of decisions you're avoiding keeps growing. And inside, you're bracing, like you're constantly holding your breath, waiting for the right answer to magically appear so that you can avoid the regret of choosing wrong. So you don't have to explain yourself or so that you don't disappoint anyone. And while it may look like you're taking your time, that you're being thoughtful and responsible and thorough, what's really happening is that you have trained your nervous system to believe that choosing equals danger. And in the absence of full certainty, your body picks safety. And that safety looks like, I don't know. It looks like delay. It looks like freezing, but really it's your body choosing protection over the risk of getting it wrong. So that's why today I'm showing you how to reset that loop, the one that keeps you stuck in hesitation, self-doubt, and emotional drain, so that you can start trusting yourself to choose with clarity, with ease, even when you're not 100% sure. Now, but before we start, for those of you new to my world, I want to introduce myself. Hello, I am 𝗲𝗂𝗿𝗂𝗏. I'm a self-care strategist and creator of the Yes Reset method, my 3-step system I use to help high-achieving women set up a life they don't need a vacation from so that they can grow a business they love with less guilt and more freedom. Now, if you're stuck in the I don't know more than you want to admit, even about the smallest decisions, or if you're delaying a reply, or avoiding your inbox, or even rehearsing your conversations just to avoid getting it wrong, stay with me. Because in just a little bit, I'm going to walk you through a real-time strategy to stop the hesitation spiral before it hijacks your energy. So you can actually move forward, trust yourself again, and finally stop leaking energy on choices that shouldn't feel this hard. Now, you don't need more pros and cons lists. You just need a way to catch the freeze loop and reset it before it chips away at your clarity and your confidence and keeping you stuck in avoidance and never moving forward. Now, I want to talk about something most people don't realize is quietly draining their energy. And it's not necessarily loud or obvious because it feels so normal. It's that moment you say, let me think about it. Not because you don't know the answer, but because you don't want to get it wrong. You don't want to regret it later, right? The choice that you made. You don't want to feel stupid or misunderstood if you make a decision around something that maybe is just not really truly in alignment or something you even really want to do. And now you have to go back and say no, or you're afraid to go back and say no. So you wait. And while you wait, you're carrying the indecision with you. Not just the task, but the actual emotional weight of it. The what if I get it wrong? The what if someone's disappointed? The what if I regret my decision later? You carry that emotional weight of every decision that you haven't made yet, and the pressure to get it right becomes overwhelming. So what looks like indecision on the surface is often just emotional overload, which is coming from a place of being maxed out, from carrying the invisible pressure of decisions you haven't made yet. And that pressure builds quietly. It's often not the big yes or no that drains you. It's all the maybes that you've tucked away and you've told yourself you'll circle back to them. But what happens is you don't. They just sit there. They keep running like tabs that you've left open in your brain that never close. And the longer they stay open, the heavier they get. So you avoid making a decision because that emotional cost of getting it wrong feels really high. It feels too high. Because again, deep down, you fear it could cost you maybe your credibility, maybe your peace of mind, maybe your self-trust, or your sense of control over your life. And when the weight of that cost is living in your body, not choosing starts to feel safer than choosing and possibly regretting it later. Now, this isn't just a passing observation that I'm making. It's a pattern that's emerged consistently through the research I've done on high-achieving women, from the conversations I've had with high-achieving women. What I've found is that you're delaying decisions because the emotional risk of getting it wrong feels too high. You outsource choices to avoid the internal pressure of regret or judgment, or you stay stuck in the I don't know loops because your nervous system has linked decision making with emotional threat. And so if you're stuck in waiting until it feels safe, what you're doing is you're waiting until you're sure. You're waiting until you won't feel guilt or judgment or disappointment if it turns out that this decision that you made didn't 100% line up the way you had hoped it would. Your indecision becomes that self-protection strategy that over time silently fuels burnout, because in the waiting, you're burning through valuable time and your most important asset of energy, trying to avoid the fact that I don't know has become your coping mechanism. And that silence between knowing and choosing, it's not peace, it's pressure. And so you start to feel tired before your day even begins because your mental load is full of decisions that feel like emotional landmines. You're living in a loop of emotional protection, calling it being thoughtful, calling it being strategic, but really you're just trying not to feel the pain of getting it wrong, of being wrong. Now, here's what I want you to understand. Burnout doesn't always come from doing too much. Okay. A lot of people think it's this misconception that, oh, I'm doing too much. I'm, burning the candle at both ends. That's why I'm burning out. It's not always from that. It can be subtle. It can come from carrying too many unmade decisions up here in your brain for far too long. They're, like I said, open tabs in your brain, constantly going round and round and round. And the cost of carrying those unmade decisions doesn't just drain your energy and strip away your time. It starts to distort your relationship with choice itself. Because when every decision starts to feel like a test that you could fail, even the small ones become emotionally loaded. And here's what I want you to know. It's not just the big decisions that drain you. It's the small ones. The email you haven't replied to yet. The voicemail message that you're still thinking about regarding maybe an opportunity that you're not really sure if it's the right one for you. The conversation that you're avoiding because you don't want to say the wrong thing. From the outside, it looks simple. Just decide, right? But on the inside, every choice feels like a test of whether you'll say it right, do it right, or make the right choice. And it becomes a test of whether someone might be disappointed by your decision or question your judgment or feel let down. So you stall. And that's when the overfunctioning and overthinking kicks in, which is what I talked about last week. Your fear of deciding has you asking for other people's opinions because it feels safer to have someone else carry the weight of the decision, and the outcome feels like it's not on you if it doesn't work, right? You say, I'm still thinking about it, or let me get back to you. But again, what you really mean is when you're saying, I'm still thinking about it, let me get back to you, is I don't trust myself to choose and still feel okay after. Because if it goes sideways, well, of course, you're going to blame yourself, right? You'll wonder if you should have seen it coming. You'll carry the emotional hangover that no one else is going to ever see because you stay in the loop. You're not choosing, you're not moving. And you're telling yourself that you need more time when what you really need is a sense of safety. Because right now, even the right decision doesn't feel like enough. You still question it. You still feel the pressure. You still wonder if it could have been more right or if you could have been more right. And it becomes a lose-lose game. Because if you make the wrong choice, you'll regret it, right? If you make the right one, you'll still worry it wasn't right enough. And in that loop, you keep operating at high functioning mode, over delivering, overthinking, maybe procrastinating, putting off decisions, having open tabs in your brain of all of these things that you've been asked and having to decide on it. You're trying to manage also how you're being perceived by others and trying to protect yourself from the possible emotional risk and lacking the safety to trust what you already know to be true for you, that, you already know what the answer is. So what do you do when you catch yourself in that loop? When every decision feels emotionally loaded, when I don't know feels safer than choosing, when you're mentally carrying options that you haven't spoken out loud yet, but haven't let go of either, right? What you need in that moment isn't more time. It's not a new pros and cons list, and it's not someone else's opinion. What you need is a way to reset the emotional charge that's keeping you stuck, but doing it in real time. And here's what that actually looks like. Let's say, for example, someone's waiting on a decision from you from days ago. Maybe it's collaboration with someone new that you admire, you've been following for a while. You're not sure if it's right for you. Maybe it's a client request. They're asking you to do something. You're not really quite sure if this is something that you want to add to the mix. Maybe it's something as simple as committing to a team call or saying yes to something, a new opportunity for you that you should be excited about that really is in alignment. Now, you didn't say yes to that, whatever it was that you've been asked, and you haven't said no either. You just said, let me think about it. And now it's been sitting in the back of your mind. It's popping up during your lunch breaks. It's popping up right before bed when you open your inbox and when you immediately close it again, and you're stuck in that indecision loop, trying to avoid making the wrong choice. And the longer it lingers, the heavier it feels. So here's what it might look like to reset that loop in real time. You're sitting at your desk, as an example. You're hovering over that reply button. You're getting ready, right, to press reply. But this time, instead of spinning through another round of what if scenarios, oh, let me think about it more. Instead, you pause and you ask yourself, does this actually align with what matters most right now? Not in general, not in theory, but in the season of life that you're in, because we're all in a season of life, right? And we're all going through a journey of life. And maybe right now, this season is just not the right time. Maybe it is actually, your honest answer is a no. Not because the request is a bad thing, but because you're already stretched thin, as an example, or you're already managing more than you're letting on. Or this yes actually could mean that you're going to be putting something off really important to you on the back burner again. And that's when you feel the shift begin to happen. But you don't stop there. It's very important. You want to now ask yourself, am I saying yes, or would I be saying yes from alignment or from obligation, guilt, or fear? And suddenly it hits you. You already know what you want to say, right? You've known it all along, but you've been scared of the aftershocks, how they might respond, what they might think, right? Whether you'll question yourself the second you make that choice to hit send and respond to their follow-up email saying, thank you for the opportunity, but it just doesn't fit right now for me in my life. I wouldn't be able to give my all into this collaboration right now. And I believe that what you're doing is great. And I think you deserve to have someone who could go all in with you on this. So instead of choosing, though, you've been carrying the weight of it. But on the flip side, when you start asking yourself these things and you start really diving into it, now you see it clearly. That this isn't about making the right decision. It's about not wanting to feel wrong, right? So you take another breath and then finally ask yourself, if I say yes, or what am I, or what would I be trading for this yes? Because again, you've heard me say this before, every yes is a trade. And if you say yes, what gets pushed? What gets sacrificed? What version of you has to carry the emotional weight if it doesn't go well? And right there, before you've even made the decision, you realize you're not just avoiding a reply, you're protecting your energy by staying stuck in limbo. You're protecting yourself, staying in this protective bubble. But that limbo is costing you just as much as a decision ever could. This is how the 3-question yes filter works in real life. It doesn't give you permission to avoid the discomfort. It gives you a way to face it without abandoning yourself to manage it. So that when you feel yourself stuck in the silence, holding onto a choice that's already made you tired just thinking about it, you catch it and you ask yourself the questions of again, is this an alignment for right now? Would I say yes out of alignment or obligation, guilt or fear, right? And what am I trading? Like, what would I trade if I said yes? Like, is it time away from my family? Is it going to interrupt the flow of what I'm already working on? Then you feel into your answer because I think it's really important. Emotions need to come into it because we make most of our decisions based on how we are feeling, right? And trust that the energy you protect is more powerful than the clarity you try to force. Because the truth is, you don't need more time to think about it. You just need a simple reset. And it starts with you being honest with yourself and what you want. This is one core piece of the Yes Reset method, which is a core part of the process I walk my clients through, helping them with a way to reset the pressure-driven patterns that quietly drain them so they can actually enjoy their life while running a business they love with less guilt and more freedom. So I want to ask you this. Are you stuck in the avoidance or indecision loop? Are you aware of just how much energy that you're actually wasting trying to avoid making a decision or the decisions that are now compounding. Your brain won't shut off, and it's quietly chipping away at your confidence, your time, and your energy. And if nothing changes, if you don't learn to help yourself make decisions, have that process to help you make those decisions with confidence, what's that going to keep costing you? Because understand this, doing nothing is also a decision, and it often costs us the most when we stay stuck in indecision mode. Now, if you're done sitting on the fence and you're ready to stop spinning in uncertainty and start making aligned decisions that actually feel easier, and you're ready to take that next step and talk about what it might look like to protect your energy in real time so that your brain doesn't stay on long after your workday ends, keeping you stuck in indecision, then comment below or send me a message directly and we can talk about where your energy is leaking and what it might look like to reclaim it on your terms. Remember, when you need to feel safe enough to choose without bracing for the emotional fallout, without performing for someone else's approval, and without wondering if you'll regret it the second it's out of your mouth, that's how quiet burnout creeps in. If you're pretending that I'm still thinking about it isn't draining your energy just as much as saying yes ever could, then you could be stuck in that indecision loop right now, that spinning place of I don't know. And you're carrying the weight of wanting to move forward, but not feeling ready. And if that's you, I want this to be your reminder. You don't have to feel 100% confident to make a decision from alignment. Okay. What you do need is a pause that helps you feel safe enough to trust what you already know. So that's why you take the pause, you ask the questions, and then you protect your decision-making energy like your peace depends on it, because it does. And one more thing. If today's message hit home for you, share this video, save it so you can watch it again to remind yourself if you get stuck in indecision. Share it with someone that you know who's been silently carrying too much for too long and they're stuck in indecision mode. And also a reminder, if you're watching on LinkedIn and you're not following me, make sure that you follow so that you can, get access to my content and my videos. And that way you don't miss anything. You'll get notified when I go live. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you never miss my videos. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I really, truly appreciate you, whether you are following me on LinkedIn, whether you're following me anywhere on social media, or you're watching my videos here on YouTube. I really appreciate you and your support. I just want to remind you, please take care of you the best that you can. There's only one of you, and take care of the best that you can so you actually live a life, not only build a life that you love, but a life that you love living. So take care of you the best that you can, and I'll see you next time.